Fear affects critical thinking. Fear and God don't occupy the same space. Let us explain what that means. Experiments and studies show when you're in fear, you lack critical thinking skills and common sense. This is because your mind is reduced to a childlike state. When you're afraid, you can't think straight. You're not able to come up with solutions that can help you overcome problems in your life. People use fear to control you, to get you to do their bidding. This is why the media and news outlets want you in a constant state of fear. Face your problems head on. Be strong. Don't be afraid. Don't live in fear. Remember, the universe is on your side and your mind is very powerful. Don't you ever forget that. Stay blessed and stay strong.
Just wanted to straighten out my hoodie. For a second. Um, Many suggest, historians and those of the like suggest that we should talk in terms of litigation. And I think that is most fitting because there are many elements of damage. And considering the nature of us in the earlier stages of what has been applied, we deserve punitive damages, right? And that's the tremendous amount that they are in debt. They are further in debt in terms of morally. There's an extensive amount of moral debt that outweighs the financial debt by a long shot. In which point, believe it or not, I'm not even referring to the normalized process in which the state of reliance folds back on them in powerless hopes that they seek the right official during the electoral process, giving them judicial claim. There are firm barriers of litigation that we are all familiar with, that the entire public is familiar with, that need to meet the congressional forces at some point, the tainted congressional forces. This state of being, this state that we appeal to, that we are appealing to, no longer warrants their order in a court. It more warrants the order here. And with that order, it would be in their best interest at that point in hindsight, after the commencement and victory of these proceedings, that they get their best negotiators and possible officials elected amongst them to come to grips with the true betterment of humanity. The damage claimed is the destruction of the organs, short for organizations, and body parts within the black body of people that actually operated outside of minors, short for minorities. Subconsciously, they weren't minors, and in physical form, they were no longer minors. But you pump the fear into these communities in many different segments of our lifetimes, recreating minors that started in physical form and grew up to continue to be minors in psychological form. And that pattern has crippled everything. Efforts to combat that in totality on a mass scale to help the health decline in all human beings in these type of circumstances came from a slave named Onesimus in the early 1700s. This refined the knowledge of viruses and variants and the prevention of sickness that Moors attempted in the ancient period. But this time it was for us because they looked to reverse it and weaponize it against us. And then now you see how that method and approach of vaccination was weaponized once again recently when the makeup of the COVID-19 jabs was revealed as being actually harmful to human beings, most of them. It's clear that it has been good versus evil. They utilize different means of putting the fear of God in us, right? Of a God, the ambiguous biblical reversions that they created to fit their narrative didn't have anyone know what type of God, if it was a devil or a God, the good God or the evil God. It doesn't make way for that knowledge to a lay mind. It would have to be the studies would have to be ran and done, and ambiguous text would have to be broken down and reverted back to its original form to for you to be able to differentiate the two. You were murdered if you didn't accept their revised version and created religion. And as I said before, you wouldn't have been murdered if it was something that was good for you, because murder is the worst thing for you. So that wouldn't have been the actions that was necessary to be taken if someone didn't accept something that was good for them. The presenter didn't intend to do anything good for that individual originally. The foot placed firmly on Hades' neck as another body of people for exhibiting the lack of fear in 1804 during the infamous revolt that gave America a reflection and a chill of fear, placing the fear in the body of slaves by using a runaway slave as an exemplification of how the lack of fear was unacceptable and punishable by death. Burning down many maroon towns of mere excellence and independence to strike fear in onlookers' hearts, so these breaths of air would never be released again.